ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपगता मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता श्रीराधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्रीराधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। We welcome participants on behalf of ISKCON Chennai in continuation of the Janmashtami series of lectures. Today we shall discuss a very, very wonderful pastime of Lord Sri Krishna. It's called Brahma Vimohan Leela. It shows how Lord Krishna is beyond the mystic powers of even Brahmaji, who is the first created being in this material universe. And everything in this material universe is subsequently created by Brahma. We all remember that Brahma comes from the lotus flower that emanates from the navel of Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is lying on the Garbhodaka ocean. From his navel, one lotus sprouts, and in the lotus, Brahmaji appears. So he is called Aja. Aja means unborn. When the lotus opens, Brahmaji is already there. And so he is the first being in this material universe. And in this Leela, we will see how Krishna shows his superiority over even Brahma. Brahma gets bewildered. That is why it is called Brahma Vimohana Leela. So here we take the darshan of Baladev and Lord Sri Krishna. Baldev is the first primary, original, plenary expansion of Lord Sri Krishna. They are absolutely not different. Krishna is the original person and Krishna expanded himself into Lord Balram. So there is absolutely no difference between these two personalities. Let us take the blessings of both. Balramji was born on the full moon day that just passed. Now on the Ashtami day, it is Lord Krishna's appearance day. So let us take the blessings of both. You can see in this picture that Krishna is enjoying with Lord Balram his own creation. Of course, they are in the Vrindavan. Vrindavan itself is the expansion of Lord Balram. Lord Balram's desire to serve Krishna in every possible way, that desire has created Vrindavan. So Vrindavan, wherever you see, everything is for the pleasure of Lord Sri Krishna. And so together they are enjoying the beautiful scenes of Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, even the plants and the birds and animals are all pure devotees. The trees, even what is considered inanimate, like even the rivers and the sand and the rocks and the mountains, they are all conscious and they are all devotees of Lord Sri Krishna. That is what makes Vrindavan a very special place. Now let us try to enter into the Leela. One day, when they were about to go for grazing, the calves, at that time, Krishna Balram are quite small boys, just around 5 years. So they are allowed to only graze the calves which are just about less than 1 year old. Only those calves they go for grazing. One day, Mother Yashoda said, "Let Balram stay back because today is Balram's birthday. So he has to do pujas and then he has to give gifts and charities to all the visitors. Brahmanas will come and they will recite some nice mantras for his protection, and then he will give lot of gifts. This is the way birthdays were celebrated in those days. You just see how the concept has changed between our tradition and modern times. In traditional times, people used to give gifts on their birthday to deserving people. They would give charity. But today, birthday is about receiving gifts. What gift you are going to give me? That is the way we look at it. And in the birthday, on those days, they would light lamps everywhere. Lighting lamps means brings light into your life. Brings light represents many things. Light represents power. Light represents knowledge. Light represents love. So all these things to invite into their life, they used to light lamps. But today we are blowing out lamps, candles. And as we were discussing in another class earlier, we celebrate New Year appearance at 12 midnight. Like ghosts, we wander in the streets and people are fully drunk and on various drugs, and they break all the morals of the scriptures and they herald the arrival of the new year at 12 midnight. But actually, by our tradition, the day only starts when the sun is about to rise. We call it the Brahma Muhurta. So just about an hour before sunrise. If sun rises at 5:30, 4:30 would be Brahma Muhurta. So around that time only the new day starts. So when you talk about the new year also, it should start around Brahma Muhurta time. Midnight is the hour of ghosts. That is not the time the new day will start. By our Panchang, the day starts at sunrise. Sunrise to sunrise is one day. So midnight is not the commencement of the next day. Midnight is continuation of the same day. So at least, these things, if we can bring back into our life, we can, these unnecessary additions that we have taken from the West, we can give them up gradually. And we can come into a sublime way of life where our life will be naturally filled with sattvic thoughts, pleasant thoughts, thoughts that lead to Shreyas, not prayers. Prayers is what we call temporary sense gratification that will never be lasting for us, and it will actually bring miseries in due course of time. So that day Balramji was not available. So Krishna, along with the other cowherd boys, they went out into the forest, and you see how joyfully they go. Grazing cows, do you think it is a job? It is an occupation or a work? No. They are going into the forest, and the calves will look at nice grass and then they will start grazing happily. And then there is water, the river, the lakes, the ponds, they will drink water. And what the boys will do? They will just play. Whole day they will play, and when the day is over, Krishna will take his flute and he will play one particular tune. When he plays the tune, every cow, every calf will hear its own name being called by Krishna. Every one of them has a personal relationship with Krishna. So Krishna will climb on the tree and blow his flute. All the cows will come back together and they will all return home. And in the meantime, everybody in Vrindavan will be waiting when the boys will come, when Krishna and Balram will come, when we will again take their darshan. They are all waiting. During the whole day, they are only talking about Krishna, singing about Krishna, because every day when they come home, the little cowherd boys, they tell the story to their parents, what all happened in today's grazing time, and they are all waiting to hear that. Once the stories are told, they will make them into nice songs, and they will be singing these songs all day. In the morning, when the boys leave for grazing, all the parents will come out and they will look without batting their eyelid at the beauty of Krishna and Balram. Everyone, everything in Vrindavan is strongly attracted and attached to Krishna and Balram. Every parent loves Krishna and Balram more than their own children. This is the nature of Vrindavan. So Krishna is carrying a flute in his waist, and on the right hand side, on the left hand side, is wearing a bugle which is made of a buffalo horn, by which they make some sounds, and then he carries a small stick for controlling the calves like that, and with a nice garland made of forest flowers, and with the body nicely decorated. There is no need for decorating Krishna. As it is so very beautiful. His eyes are like lotus petals going right up to the ears. His lips are red, like what they call the bimba fruits. And his body is so smooth and soft and very well formed. It just looks like butter. And his color is like a beautiful monsoon rain cloud. And then he's so nicely ornamented. His shoulders, his arms, his legs, his ankles, they're all ornamented with nice jewelry. And then nice necklaces he's wearing on the neck. And then he's wearing a beautiful turban with a lovely peacock feather on it. And he's wearing a beautiful tilak. And he's wearing earrings. They are called shark-shaped earrings, Makara Kundala, that he's always wearing. And he's having nice, beautiful, curly black hair, which is surrounding his moon-like face. And anyone who sees him, they curse Brahma. Why they curse Brahma? Why did Brahma create these useless eyelids? Every time we wink our eye, we don't see Krishna for that moment. For those people in Vrindavan, that moment is like years. They are becoming aware of the automatic batting of the eyelids. Do we ever consider the batting of our eyelid? Do we ever think it is blocking my vision? But that is the amount of love Vrindavan Vasis have towards Krishna. So they are all going towards the forest, and every day all the boys will be surrounding Krishna, and the cows will be going, and they will go to a different place in the forest where there's a lot of grass is there, and they will allow the calves to graze. Now, one day, that particular day, when Balarama stayed at home because of his birthday, when they went, they saw one huge snake lying on the road, on the forest path. This story I will cut short because you have to focus on Brahma Vimohan Leela. But anyway, this snake was there to kill Krishna along with all his cowherd boys. So the snake was so huge, its open, wide mouth, the upper lip was touching the clouds, and the tongue was open, outside the mouth, and it was like a huge red carpet. So the boys saw, and they said, "Oh, there is a nice toy today for us to play." And they all looked at Krishna. They actually knew that it is a snake. But they were telling themselves, "Oh, we have a nice toy." And even though it was a huge snake, the boys were unafraid the moment they looked at Krishna. They said, Krishna will save us. Only the other day, one huge asura came in the form of a crane, of a stork. And he tried to kill Krishna, and how nicely he killed that. So every day Krishna has been able to kill all these demons. So this demon also, they are thinking like that in the mind, but they are saying, "Oh, there's a nice thing, let us go and play inside." So saying, all the boys entered. Krishna was actually standing and watching. Oh my God, now what is going to happen? All the boys have entered and gone inside the snake. Now if I kill the snake, the boys will be hurt. But if I don't kill the snake also, how I can save them? Like that Krishna was thinking. But actually what, Krishna was thinking? These are all beyond our comprehension. What Krishna is thinking? He is seeing how his own energy is functioning so beautifully. It's all Krishna's energy. The material energy is Krishna's energy. Bhumirappuna lovayu kammana buddhirevacha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakriti. Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intelligence, and false ego. All these 8 elements are my energies, but they are my separated energies. I have separated them from me, which means I have separated my consciousness from them. But they are all supported by Krishna only. So Krishna is seeing how his own energy is operating. So then all the people have entered. They have all gone inside the snake. And now what Krishna is thinking? Now what should I do? And the snake is still keeping his mouth open. He is waiting for Krishna to enter. Once Krishna is also gone, he will close the mouth and he will kill everybody. Actually, the snake is called Aghasura. He's a demon called Aghasura, and he is the brother of Putana. We have already heard about the story of Putana. She is his sister. And Bakasura, who came in the form of a stork, he is his brother. So he is so angry with Krishna. He killed my brother and sister. Now I will finish not only Krishna, but all the Brajavasi children I will kill. Once they are all killed, Brajavasis will kill themselves, and that way I will finish the entire Vrajabhumi. Such an evil thought was in his mind. So he is just lying there. So Krishna finally entered into his mouth, and after Krishna entered, he closed the mouth. And all the devatas from the sky, they were watching, and they were saying, alas, alas, Krishna is also gone. Now what will happen? This is again the beautiful Yogamaya of Krishna. Even though everybody knows he is the Supreme Lord, nothing will happen. His Yogamaya covers everybody so that the pastimes of Krishna are enjoyed by everyone completely. They get absorbed, submerged into his Leela. So the demigods are all crying, oh, alas, what will happen now? What will happen now? But then Krishna was inside the snake's mouth. He expanded himself inside. Nobody can see it's happening inside the snake. So and the snake choked. His eyes bulged out. And then his life air was trying to get out. His prana was trying to get out. But the way is blocked. So the snake's head opened. And out of the head, his prana along with the soul came out. And the soul was shining like the sun. And it was shining like that. And then through the mouth, Krishna came out. The mouth was all torn. And Krishna came out. When Krishna came out, the soul of Aghasura, which was hovering over the head, it entered into Krishna's body. So because the Asura was killed by Krishna, his soul became purified and it became absorbed into the body of Krishna. And then by glancing at the boys, all the boys who entered the snake's stomach, they were all dead. But when Krishna just glanced at them, they all came alive. And they did not know what happened. They all came laughing out of the snake's mouth. So that was the end of Aghasura. And after that, they started moving into the forest along with their calves. And then they came to a place where there was a beautiful pond. The pond was surrounded by lovely fruit-bearing trees. And inside the pond, there were so many lotus flowers. And such nice fragrance was coming. A beautiful, cool breeze was blowing. And the sun was up in the sky. And Krishna told, now I think all of us are tired. Let us all sit and have our lunch. They have all brought lunch from home. Krishna says, let us all sit together and have our lunch. And Krishna is sitting in the center. All the boys are sitting around him in circles. It is just like a lotus. Krishna is the center of the lotus flower. And all the boys are sitting in circles like wool, in the center of the lotus flower. And all the boys are sitting in so many circles. Now you may have a doubt in your mind. Oh, they are all sitting in circles. That means some of them are sitting on the side of Krishna. Some of them are sitting on the back of Krishna. Only some people are sitting in front of Krishna. Oh, how fortunate they are who get to sit in front of Krishna. But the beauty of the story? Everyone is seeing that Krishna is looking at him. And looking at him only. Krishna in the center, everybody feels actually Krishna is looking at me. How nice it is. And Krishna is talking and exchanging love with every one of the boys. Everyone is opening what they have brought and then they taste it and they say, oh, this is so nice. I should share it with Krishna. So, what they have already tasted, they take it to Krishna and say, oh, Krishna, this is so nice. Please take it. Like that, they are all offering to Krishna. Imagine thousands and thousands of boys are sitting around Krishna. Each one of them is offering and Krishna is accepting from each one of them. How is it? How is it? And somebody has taken a rasgulla into his mouth and then he says, oh, it is so nice. Krishna should taste it. Krishna should taste it. I should not swallow it. And then he comes to Krishna. Krishna, you taste this rasgulla. And then what happens? From the mouth of the boy, Krishna is accepting directly into his mouth the rasgulla. The devatas are watching from the sky. They know Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead. But look what is happening. These innocent cowherd boys, they are having such a relationship with Krishna. They are so intimate. And Krishna is also reciprocating so completely with them. So this bewildered them. What is happening here? In none of the Shastras, it is approved that you can take something that is already tasted by somebody from his mouth. But Krishna is capable of doing it. So this Leela was going on, and Brahmaji came out from his abode, and he saw how Krishna killed Aghasur. Now he saw Krishna is sitting with all these boys, and he's breaking all the rules of the scriptures, which he only gave, eating the juta of other people. And then he got bewildered. Brahma was caught by the Maya of Krishna. And Brahma said, this cannot be the Supreme Lord. This little boy, I will test him. So Brahma came down. And what Brahma did? He came down, and at that time what happened? The calves that they were grazing, they started slowly moving deeper, deeper, deeper inside the forest. And suddenly the cows disappeared. And the boys suddenly noticed, oh Krishna, our cows are gone. Let us go and search. So in the middle of the lunch, they started getting up. Krishna said, he did not want any of the boys to miss their lunch, So Krishna said, don't worry. You just continue with your lunch. I will go find them. They would have just gone inside the forest. I will bring them back. So Krishna got up. At that time, Krishna's hand, in his left hand, he was having some rice mixed with curd, butter, and some fruit salad, different small, small pieces of fruits mixed in that. So kind of curd rice was what he was holding in his hand. With that only, he just walked into the forest. A small child, just about 4 or 5 years. He walked into the forest looking for his cows. He was looking here, there, and everywhere, just like a child who has missed his cows. Then, when he could not find, in his mind he knew Brahmaji has done this. So he was thinking, oh, Brahma has taken all my boys and hidden them. Now what shall I do? Oh, no, cows. And then he comes back. Cows are not there. He's coming back. Boys are also not there. Brahmaji has hidden the cows in one place, boys in another place. He has put them to sleep. And then Krishna is saying, oh, boys are also gone. Now what shall I do? At that time, Brahma disappeared. Let me see what Krishna does. Brahma disappeared. And Krishna was saying, oh, all the boys are gone. Then what Krishna did immediately? He expanded into all the boys and all the cows. In one moment, they were all there. And they were all not behaving like Krishna, It was not that Krishna was disguised as all the boys and all the cows, and inside they are all Krishna. No, they were all behaving, talking, laughing, smiling, just like how they were before. You cannot make out that it is not the same boy. The dress was the same. The voice was the same. The appearance was the same. If somebody has a mole in one cheek, it was very much there in place. The same dress, everything, 100% the same. So at the end of the day, all of them went back. So all the boys and the cows went to their respective homes, and Krishna went back to his house. Right? So this Leela is very interesting. You know why? Krishna is the child of Mother Yashoda. So Mother Yashoda has the good fortune of looking after him intimately every day, bathing him, dressing him, decorating him, putting him to sleep, breastfeeding him. All this fortune was available to Krishna, to Yashoda. All the Vrajavasis were also in love with Krishna as much as Mother Yashoda. They were not envious. We usually think, oh, people were envious. No, they were all deeply in love with Nanda Maharaja, Yashoda, and Krishna. They had a deep longing. I also wish to nurse Krishna like that. So, see here how beautifully Krishna arranges. Actually, Brahma has played a trick, but through Brahma's trick, Krishna has arranged that all Vrajavasi men and women will have the chance to serve Krishna directly. Because each of the cowherd boy was now Krishna. So they all went back home, and the mothers and fathers came and hugged them. Tears were coming out of their eyes because everybody loves Krishna more than their own children. I can give you the philosophic understanding of this. Why everybody loves Krishna more than their own children? Because Krishna is the soul of our soul. You know, Paramatma, we say. He's our Paramatma. What is Paramatma after all? Paramatma is the Atma of our Atma. We are spirit souls. Of course, we are completely confused people. We are thinking we are the body, but we are not the body. We are spirit souls. But our spirit souls are alive because of the Supreme Soul, Krishna. So our true life is Krishna. Our true life and soul is Krishna. So naturally, everybody loves Krishna more than they love their own children. So the mothers got a chance to nurse Krishna in their lap. They kept them, they were smelling their head, nicely. They were giving their affection. Same thing happened to the calves. Now you remember, the calves are also Krishna. They ran to their respective mothers, and the cows were shedding tears in deep affection, because the cows are also souls like us. And for them also, the calf is now the Paramatma Krishna. So this Leela was going on. This went on for 1 whole year. At the end of 1 year, Brahma came back. For Brahma, it was one moment. If you have all attended my earlier class, I told you Brahmaji's one day is 340 billion into 1,000 years, like that. So that is the length of Brahma's day. So Brahma's one moment is just like 1 year for us. So for a moment only Brahma came in, because Brahma knew he was playing with fire. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I am trying to work my Maya on him. So he was afraid. One moment later he came back. That was 1 year. So that time Balramji was there with Krishna, and Balramji saw a very unique thing. Noticed. That day he noticed. What is that he noticed? All the cows, these boys are grazing the calves. 1 year, less than 1 year old calves. These boys are grazing calves which are 1 year, more than 1 year old, 1 year old. That means the cows have already given birth to another calf. The cows have already given birth to another calf. They are all grazing in Govardhan. Govardhan is a beautiful mountain in the Vrindavan area. The men, the cowherd men, are grazing the cows, the grown-up cows. So the grown-up cows, they are grazing in another part of Govardhan, on the hill. The boys are downhill. The men and the cows are uphill. They are grazing there. But suddenly, what happened? The cows saw their calves. Please remember, these calves are already more than 1 year old. The cows have already given birth to another calf. By nature, the cows will be now showing affection to their present child only. These calves are already 1 year old grown, But the cows, when they saw the calves, they came running downhill. The cowherd men were trying to control them, but they could not control. The cows were just running, Their udders were full of milk, and the milk was flowing in affection. And they were just running down, and they all ran to their respective calves, and the cows started taking their milk, and the cows were standing there in so much ecstasy. The cowherd men became very angry. Why these cows have become so disobedient? They also came running, but when they came down, they saw their children, and they all got attracted to their children. They started embracing them, hugging them, smelling their heads, and shedding tears. Balramji was watching. This is something unusual. Number one, the cows showing so much affection to a 1 year old calf is unusual. And these cowherd men, they are displaying so much affection to their children, which is usually reserved for only Krishna. Balramji is thinking like that. And Balramji is bewildered. You know who is Balramji? He is Krishna only. Krishna's first expansion is Balramji. But Balramji is also bewildered. That is the beautiful Yoga Maya of Krishna. This is a different Maya. The Maya working in this material world is called Mahamaya. It gives us misery and trouble. But the Yoga Maya, which is operating in Vaikuntha, Goloka, Vrindavan, it's called Yoga Maya. It increases the affection of the souls towards Krishna, and it covers the fact that he is a God. so that the relationship can be more intimate. We don't feel like exchanging that kind of love with God directly. But Krishna is no longer God in Vrindavan. Yogamaya takes care of that. So Balramji was wondering, and then he asked Krishna, slowly, Krishna, what is happening? Then Krishna tells him, yes, this is what happened. At the same moment, Brahmaji comes and he sees everything is as it was. Brahmaji is totally confused. All the boys are here, all the calves are here. Have they been playing? I was gone by 1 year in human standard. But for 1 year, are they playing here like that? What happened to the children I have hidden? Did my Maya not work on them? How is it possible? Then he's going and seeing, no, calves are there, the boys are there, and here also boys are there. Brahma is thoroughly confused. Then by Krishna's mercy, Krishna's compassion, because Brahma is a devotee of Krishna, even though temporarily he was covered by Maya. So Krishna, suddenly what happened? All the boys and all the calves transformed into Vishnu forms. Four-armed Vishnu, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, with the Kaustubha, with the Srivatsa mark, with the Vaijayanti garlands, with everything intact, with the beautiful Vaidurya crown, with the Pitambara dress, everything, complete Vishnu, and he was glancing, all of them were just glancing at Brahma, and he was seeing every one of them was a Mahavishnu, not like a mirror image. They were all complete in themselves. Brahmaji saw the Vishnu, and then he also saw by the side of the Vishnu himself, Brahma and Shiva, around every Vishnu. And then he saw all the Devatas around every Vishnu. All the Devatas. And then he saw all other living entities, lesser living entities like human beings, animals, plants, everything around every Vishnu. And they were all singing and dancing around Vishnu. Every Vishnu. There were an unlimited number of Vishnus. This is what he was experiencing. So he got thoroughly bewildered. He was almost going to faint. Then suddenly Krishna covered everything. And again Krishna was alone. Krishna was alone. And his hand, he was having the curd rice. 1 year old curd rice with butter and yogurt and fruits, still holding. And he was searching here and there, as though nothing happened. Then Brahma, with all his 4 heads, he came down and surrendered at the lotus feet of Krishna. And he said, I am really sorry. And Brahma sang some very beautiful prayers to Krishna. At that time, Krishna revealed the true glory of Vrindavan to him. Up to now, Brahma was thinking this is an ordinary place in the world, on the earth. But then Krishna revealed, and then he saw every tree was a Kalpavriksha tree. They were looking like ordinary trees. They were Kalpavriksha trees. And every sand on the floor was Chintamani stones. They were special stones which can fulfill all our desires. And every cow was a Kamadhenu cow. And then he realized this is the land of Vrindavan, which is far beyond Brahmaloka. Brahmaloka is within this material world, but Goloka is beyond the material world. Now here, a little bit of philosophy for all of us. We all think, at least I used to think, I believe most of you would also be thinking, that the world of forms, the world in which we see forms, is unreal. Most of the people who are jnanis, they think like that. In this world, we see forms. I am here. I am here means I look in the mirror, I see my body. But this body is false. Only the soul is real. Similarly, I am sitting in a room. There are cupboards, there are chairs, there are tables, there are furnitures. Then I look around, there is a sky, there are the trees and houses and everything. We think all these forms are unreal. They are all temporary. They appeared at some point of time, they will disappear at a future point of time. So we all think, when we try to think about God, that ultimately God is a formless person. God is formless. So for me, moksha means I should also become formless. Formless means neither the physical body that I have should be there. Also, my mind, my intelligence, my ego, that should also completely become dissolved. That means I should become nothing. And there should be, ultimately, God is Nirgun, Nirakar. God is formless and without any qualities. Ultimately, God is like nothing. So this is what we think. So ultimately, we want to feel nothing is God. Please try to understand. This is the consciousness that when we try to use our mental speculation to understand who is God, we come to the conclusion that God cannot be a form. Because I look at my form, I see it has so many problems. My form, for example, is sitting in one room and talking now. But what do I know happening outside the room? Because I am here, my eyes are here, my eyes can see only what is happening here, my ears can hear only what is happening here. How can I know what is happening outside? So for God also, if there is a form, we think God will be subject to our limitations, but no. God's quality is Achintya Beda Abeda. God is inconceivably great. We all say God is having unlimited powers. God cannot be fully understood. God's powers are unlimited, we say. But still, we apply our human consciousness to understand what God can do and what God cannot do. But to put things simply, there is nothing that God cannot do. God can be in this room and also he can be outside this room. God can be with a form and God can be without a form and pervade everything, right? God can not only see through his eyes, God can see through his skin also. God can see through his legs also. Similarly, when for Janmashtami, we are going to offer him nice items like Makan Mishri, Laddu, and Rasgullas, Gulab Jamuns, and so many other sweets and all. Krishna can eat it through the picture or the deity in your altar. He can do. And not only that, he can eat just by glancing at the food that you have kept in front of him. Just by a loving glance. And by a glance, you know what he accepts? Because Krishna is not in need of anything. Krishna is in need of your love. But when you offer all these nice items to Krishna, prepared with devotion and offered in love, Krishna will accept it. Krishna will accept your love. Krishna says in Gita, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upahridam asnami prayatatmana. Krishna says, Arjun, even if you offer to me just a few leaves of tulsi or some flowers, some lotus flowers like that, and some water or some fruit, I will accept it if you offer it to me with love. What is that love? What is he accepting? He is accepting your love. So whatever we do for Krishna, let us try to mix love in that. Let us do everything lovingly. This is our preparation for going back to Goloka. We just see how these boys are enjoying with Krishna in complete love. For these boys, their life is Krishna only. Their life is Krishna. You know, when they are walking towards the forest, the scripture says, for a moment, if Krishna is hidden behind a tree, the boys start shouting, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? And again, Krishna reappears and they all become so joyful. For them, the life is Krishna only. And who are these boys? They are all great rishis and munis who have done so much tapasya for getting Krishna as their friend. They have purified themselves completely, and in their heart, there is only Krishna. Such people, Krishna has taken back into Goloka and given them these forms of cowherd boys. Now, the forms that you are seeing here, they are not material forms. Our body is made of earth, water, fire, air, space, correct? But these bodies you see are spiritual, just like Krishna. Krishna's body is made of Sat Chit Ananda. Same body all these boys are having. When we go to Krishna, we will also get a Satchitananda body and will become one of his entourage. And after that, we can also participate in all the pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna. So this is the story of Brahma Vimohan. So Brahma falls at the lotus feet of Krishna and says, now I know what is Vrindavan. So that Vrindavan is not a formless place. You know, I said Nirakar, Nirguna, no. But that is not within this material world. We should not think just because it is 160 kilometers south of Delhi, it's a place in the map of India, and India is a place in this material world. We should not think it is a material place. No, by the power of Krishna, he has manifested that same Vrindavan here. Actually, the Goloka Vrindavan is unlimited in dimensions. But that same thing is manifested in a small, we call it as 64 kroshas of land called Mathura Vrindavan area. But when we go to Vrindavan, we don't see the Vrindavan. Why? Because we are not completely purified. Our consciousness is not completely pure. Our love for Krishna is not complete. Our love for Krishna is not even awoken from our heart. It is still dormant. So when the love awakens in our heart, then we will see Vrindavan as it is. I said Yogamaya. Yogamaya is another energy of Krishna. She covers everything from those who are not eligible to contact Krishna. So you can still go to Vrindavan. You can visit the various pastime places of Krishna. You can go to various temples. You can roll on the land, on the sand if you want. But you will still not see the actual Vrindavan. You can say, no, I bought a ticket. I went to Delhi. From there, I went to Vrindavan. I have seen everything. No, you have not touched Vrindavan, because Yogamaya makes sure that if you are not eligible, you don't see Vrindavan. But it is still a great fortune to be able to go to Vrindavan if you have that mood. Oh Krishna, please reveal your Vrindavan to me. Please reveal your form to me. Please reveal your wonderful pastimes to me. Please give me entry into your pastimes. If we pray like that in Vrindavan, it is extremely auspicious. So whenever an opportunity comes, let us all pray in our mind that we want to go to Vrindavan. In the meantime, when you meditate on this Leela, what we are talking about, you are actually in Vrindavan. Ultimately, Krishna always lives in Vrindavan. Vrindavanam parityaja padam ekam na gachet. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. But that Vrindavan is our hearts. Then our hearts are purified of all unwanted sentiments and feelings and emotions, negative thoughts. Then it becomes a suitable residence for Krishna, and Krishna never leaves that place. So let us all pray on this very auspicious day that let our hearts become a Vrindavan, so that Krishna will come there and he will never leave. Some people say Krishna stands in a threefold bending form, right? Krishna is bent in three places, Tribhanga. So it is very difficult to take Krishna into us, into our heart. How if it is straight, you can take him, but Krishna is never straight, he is crooked. So to take him inside is difficult. But once you have taken him inside with love, then he cannot leave also. Same way, entering is difficult. Once he is inside, he never leaves. So let us all pray on this day that we want to become devotees of Krishna. And that is the highest perfection of life. To become formless is not the true moksha. Not to have a material body and to dissolve is not the goal. Yes, we should not have a material body, that is true, because we are spirit souls. But we should give up our material body permanently, and we should take up our spiritual body in the Goloka Vrindavan. That is the goal of life. So Krishna told Arjuna, Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadipaha nachevana bhavishyamaha sarve vayamata param. Krishna told Arjuna in the battlefield, Arjun, there was never a time when you or me or all these kings were not existing. We are all existing forever. But then Krishna says, I know all the existences that we have had in the past, but you don't know, you forget. That is a difference between God and us. God is aware of everything at all times and is completely powerful. But we are his tiny parts and parcels. We enjoy our completeness when we are connected with God. Actually, we are also not in need of anything. We are complete beings. Purnamataha, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate, Purnasya, Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vasishyate. Krishna is Purnam, and we have all come out of Krishna. We are his parts and parcels. We are also Purnam. We are also complete. Why then we are feeling some lacking in us? What is lacking? Connection with Krishna is lacking. Once we reconnect with Krishna, nothing will be lacking for us. So if I think only a car is lacking for me, if I get a car, I will become happy. If I get a house, I will become happy. If I get a big promotion, I will become happy. If I get a child, I become happy. We are thinking like that, but no. Only when we get Krishna, we will become completely happy. After that, there will be no need in our mind for anything. So that is the goal of life. That is the perfection of life, not to achieve formlessness. To achieve material formlessness is the goal. That is correct. We should not have a material form like this. This material form is an embarrassment for us. It is subject to old age, disease, death, and so many untold uncertainties in life. There is so much suffering. This is an embarrassment because we are eternal spirit souls. Why are we suffering like this? So our goal is to give up this material form and take up a spiritual form. So our preparation now, actually this Leela, what we talked today is from Srimad Bhagavatam. And we were earlier talking about Srimad Bhagavad Gita. What is the difference between the two? Actually no difference. Because both are Krishna Katha. Krishna Katha. What is Krishna Katha? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna spoke. So that is Krishna Katha. The words of Krishna, Krishna spoke it. That's Krishna Katha. Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna's story. So this is also Krishna Katha. So both Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, they are Krishna Katha. So our life is meant for this Krishna Katha only. Let us read Bhagavad Gita to understand who is God. And let us read Bhagavatam to enter into God. We will be able to hear the Leela, take it into our heart through our ears, and then completely live our life in the remembrance of Krishna. You can constantly sing the names of Krishna, just like we talked about Yashoda. No? She was churning milk and curd, and she was singing about Krishna. So we can sing about Krishna, talk about Krishna, chant about Krishna, read about Krishna. Our life can be completely Krishnaized. So this Janmashtami, let us take it as our goal. I don't think at this point in time, those of you who have been with us in the last several days have any doubt about the goal of life. Until now, yes, we had a lot of doubts, but now it is very clear. In fact, many of the doubts in our hearts must have got answered by now. You know, main doubt we have is, why did God create this imperfect world? Now, at least we know this imperfect world is a preparation for us. We need an imperfect world to purify ourselves. A perfect world, we cannot purify ourselves. In this world, where we are getting reactions for all our actions, through that we are getting purified. We do foolish actions, we do actions selfishly. So the reactions have to come, and these reactions actually purify us. And when we are purified, we have no need to stay in this material world again. This material world is not a place for a gentleman. This is what the Vaishnava Acharyas say. So for a gentleman, the place is Goloka Vrindavan. So this is what we learned from this beautiful story. So at the end of the story, here is Brahma hovering over all the boys, having their prasadam. You know, he's so totally bewildered, but ultimately, after the Leela is over, he is surrendering to Krishna. Look at Krishna and look at Brahma. Krishna is just like a little baby standing there, and you can see his left hand, not very clear. His left hand is raised up, and in that, the curd rice is sitting. What was there 1 year ago? That curd rice is still there. And Krishna is taking the blessings of Arjuna. Brahmaji is taking the blessings of Krishna and then leaving back to his abode. In the process, Brahma has given us all an opportunity to know how Krishna is above this material creation. Brahmaji is the first person in material creation, and he is falling at the lotus feet of Krishna and saying, I am so sorry. So this is the message. There are many philosophic messages that come through this story that I will discuss with you in future classes. I think this is the day for us to enjoy more of Krishna Leela than to go deep into philosophy. But there is no difference between discussing Krishna Leela and Krishna Tattva. Actually, they are both one and the same. And this is the view. See here, all the calves and the boys are all transformed into Vishnu forms. And Brahmaji is standing and just wondering with his mouth wide open, what is going on? You know, he's totally bewildered by this scene. And this is another story we'll share with you another time. In this picture, this is happening in Dwarka. Krishna is standing in the center, and there are so many Brahmas, you see, and they have got, some of them have got so many heads also. So our Brahma thought there is only one universe, and he went to see Krishna in Dwarka. Then the gatekeeper told, what should I tell Krishna? Who has come? Brahma said, tell him that Brahmaji has come. So the watchman came back after a minute. He said, Krishna is asking which Brahma? Brahma got confused. There is only one Brahma. So, but still Brahma said, okay, tell him Chaturmukha Brahma came. The Brahma with 4 heads has come. So he said, okay, then Krishna said, you come in. So Brahma went in. And when Brahma went, Krishna was sitting, and one after the other, so many Brahmas were offering dandavats to Krishna, touching their helmets on Krishna's lotus feet. So many Brahmas. Some of them had 100 heads. Some of them had 1,000 heads. Some of them had 10,000 heads. They were all offering dandavat pranams to Krishna. But no Brahma was able to see another Brahma. Only Krishna was seeing all of them, and Krishna was telling everyone, okay, how is your planet? How is your universe? Is everything going all right? And they were all saying, yes, by your blessings, everything is nice. Like that they were telling. And now our Brahma only got to see the entire scene. Others were not aware. Then our Brahma became humble. So this beautiful Leela helps us to understand Krishna is Supreme Lord. Even though he comes in the form of a human being, he should not be mistaken as a human being. He is a Supreme Lord. He performs all these Leelas only to attract us to go back to him. And this is, I want to give you a brief introduction to these 5 personalities here. The one standing in the center is Krishna himself. But he appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years ago, 1486, in a place called Mayapur in Nadia district in West Bengal. He appeared for a particular reason. Why? In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said that you surrender to me and I will take care of you. All your sins I will destroy. You have to only surrender to me. But then Krishna thought, unless I teach them how to surrender, how they will surrender to me? Because nobody understands the meaning of surrender. Then he decided, I will appear myself. So this is one of the reasons why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as a devotee of Krishna. He never disclosed that he is Krishna. And even today, if some of you are visiting different God men or God women, I don't know, they may be claiming, I am God. You can immediately reject them. This is a simple test. Or if their followers are calling them God and they are not objecting, then also you can reject this Guru. They are not your Guru. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was Krishna himself, never allowed anyone to call him as God. He would close his ears and say, Vishnu, Vishnu, Vishnu. You cannot call an ordinary human being as God. So he appeared as a devotee and he demonstrated how to surrender to Krishna. These stories we will hear in greater detail in the coming days. Through our regular classes, we will touch upon all these points. And the 5 people, what you see here, are all his expansions. All of them were, of course, simultaneously in Mayapur. The one in blue dress, standing to the right of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is Nityananda Prabhu. He is none other than Balaram. You know, Balaram is a direct expansion of Krishna. So same way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu. And again, standing to the right of Nityananda Prabhu is a very special personality called Advaita Acharya. He is the incarnation of Mahavishnu. We know Mahavishnu is the source of entire material creation. And the Mahavishnu is an expansion of Nityananda Prabhu or Balaram. So Balaram is the expansion of Krishna and Mahavishnu is one of the expansions of Balaram. On the right hand, on the left hand side of Mahaprabhu, you see one personality that is called Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit is the internal pleasure potency of Krishna, Radharani. Krishna's internal pleasure potency is none other than Radharani. So that personality is actually Radharani. But in this incarnation, he was called Gadadhar Pandit. And further to the left of Gadadhar Pandit is Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur was the incarnation of Narada Muni, who is the example of a pure devotee among humans, right? Pure devotee, which is also an expansion of Krishna. So basically, everything that exists is an expansion of Krishna. But We need to understand everything correctly in the correct perspective, and we should lead our life in that complete understanding. Then our life becomes perfect. And then we become truly a servant of Krishna. When in our hearts we become a true servant of Krishna, what Balramji is teaching to us, then we are ready to go back to Krishna. So with this, we come to the end of today's session, and let us all express our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada, by whose mercy even a fool can understand the deepest secrets of God, which is possible only by the blessings of a guru. Only by the blessings of a truly realized guru, we can actually hope to understand God. There is no other way. Why? Because it's a process of mercy only. We are not qualified, we are not competent to understand God. But because God is merciful and the guru is merciful, we become qualified. By their mercy, we become qualified. So with this, we come to the end of this session. Let us all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times, and then we will close the session. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.